Welcome to Gotta Run. This is Will Sanchez. My special guest tonight is Terence Gerchberg. I met Terence back in 2004, 2005, when he was the regular coach for Tuesdays and Thursday nights at Nike Town. Terence is a very gifted coach. Regardless of who you were, you thought not only the impossible was possible, but you never realized it was going to be so much fun. So please welcome Terence Gerchberg.
Thank you, Will. That was a very kind introduction. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate all the great work you did with us on Nike Town. But Terence, let's get started by introducing to the audience a little bit about yourself. Where were you born? A little bit about your family, a little bit about your schooling.
All right. I was born at St. Vincent's Hospital, the hospital that is no more.
In New York?
Yep, in New York City. Born in New York. Grew up a little bit here. Left. Lived in Southern California, Los Angeles. And then college brought me back. I went to NYU. I graduated in '96 from NYU, and I've been here ever since. You know.
What did you study in NYU?
Accounting and finance, so nothing related to running or fitness, but it's until I started running, I didn't even know what Central Park really was.
Interesting, accounting and finance. Well, always have a backup job.
Yes, I do. And speaking of that, I used to work on Wall Street. And
after school?
After school, I went to an accounting firm, which lasted about 11 months, and I was on Wall Street for about 5 years. I was a trader on the floor of the American Stock Exchange, yelling and screaming and all that crazy intensity. Yep.
Oh, we've all seen the movies, so we know. But what was your athletic endeavors like when you were a youngster?
I played a little bit of football, some baseball. My mom coached us on a couple of the sports, and you know, I'm not the biggest person in the world now. So when I played football, all I wanted to do was run and catch the ball and just keep running. But the coach had a couple different ideas when I was in high school, and he's like, "You can be the tight end." I was like, "No, thank you." And the first time I got hit, I was like, "That's quite all right." So all I wanted to do was just run, catch the ball. So that was a lot of fun.
Oh, so was your mom then a big influence in your sports career, so to speak?
She was always very active. Yep, she did a lot of stuff with tennis. She usually coached my younger brother, who was a little bit bigger. But yeah, she was a big influence. She's in town this weekend, so I'm getting to hang out with her. But and she's still she just turned 70, and she has a tremendous amount of energy and enthusiasm, and she's running up and down those subway stairs.
Oh,
it's
okay,
great.
Good genes. So
yeah,
it
very
speaks
good genes.
Well for your future.
It does indeed.
Excellent. How did you get involved in coaching?
Great question. When I was on Wall Street, you know, there's the corporate challenge. Corporate challenge about 10 years ago, a couple people on the exchange are like, "Do you want to be on the corporate challenge team?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." A couple of us went out there and we ran, and I remember I would run recreationally just to stay in shape. And what ended up happening is I remember running it at 3.5 miles in exactly 28 minutes. So that was 8-minute miles. I was like, "This is great," and I thought I was done. I thought I was completely cooked. I had nothing more. And when I left Wall Street after September 11th, I pretty much was there when everything happened. Every day for 5 years, I'd walk under the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And after that happened, I went completely a different way. You know, people often ask me now, "What do you do for a living?" And I tell them I only do what makes me happy. And they're like, "What does that mean?" And so I got into running for myself. That's why I originally met Jonathan Kane, Coach Kane. And when I was training for my first New York City Marathon in 2002. And 2004, by then I'd still been a part of the Nike program. They loved my enthusiasm, my energy, my passion for the sport. And they're like, "Do you mind, taking over and running?" And to this day, every time I meet somebody on the subway, on the street, and they want to know about running classes and running groups, I'm like, Nike Town's a great place to go. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's free. On Saturdays, I was an integral part of that also with Eve Mark. And I've just watched it flourish over the years.
Oh, I was part of that, and I enjoyed it. But let me ask you this. You had an interesting mantra at the beginning of the talks. Everybody, of course, had to warm up, but you also had this saying, "Safety never takes a holiday."
Correct.
What is that about?
A gentleman by the name of Bob Kern was on the floor of the American Stock Exchange, and he said it once in the middle of the day when we were trading, and I'm like, that is hilarious, but it's also so true. And the reason why I brought into the running is I felt like when we would enter the park, we were such a big group, and there was bikes and there was cars, and I never wanted to watch anybody get hit, or nor did I want anybody to get hit on my watch while I was coaching them, while I was working with anybody. And I just felt like that it just stuck, you know. And I got to say, I've never really been hurt, never watched anybody get hurt. But if I'm out there saying it first, maybe nobody will get hurt on my watch.
Oh, excellent. Well, we all look forward to that.
Safety doesn't take a holiday. And then it was great, because even on a holiday weekend, I'm like, safety doesn't take a holiday on
a holiday.
Yeah. So it just allowed it to be fun.
But it was great. And you also you showed us how to run in pairs, so one should run behind and start a conversation rather than three across, which is great. I don't think any other coach does that. Yeah. That's interesting.
And then also it goes into my whole philosophy on everything is respect the people around you, respect the park, respect this earth, and lead through example. So yeah, we see groups taking up the whole park, but because they're doing it doesn't mean we should. Let's lead through example, run two abreast, drop in, and if you really think about it, that's how you should run a race. It's more efficient.
Yes. You're also a well-known vegetarian. I assume, like all kids, you went to hamburgers and hot dogs, went to probably baseball games. How did you make that switch?
Gosh, it really started with way back in the day. My sister Heather was vegetarian, and that was really interesting. I was like, there's something a little bit more to this. And when I was in college, I became vegetarian, and I started reading and educating myself more about it, and I'm like, that really coincides with my philosophies and my views on animals, the environment, and on a bigger level. And the more I read about it, the more I learned about it, it was right. And I gave it a try. I was like, I'm just going to go vegetarian for 6 months. And after 6 months, I was like, I feel great. I love the way my body feels, the way it responds to everything. And I've stuck with it. So I've been vegetarian for over 17 years now. And actually in the last year and a half, I've become completely vegan.
What is your breakfast like then?
Oh, my breakfast is the best. Every time anybody hears it, they're like, I want that. Steel-cut oatmeal, raisins, blueberries, all kinds of nuts. I love walnuts. I put bananas in there, pumpkin seeds. And then the one thing I do eat that's not considered completely vegan is honey.
But, honey, really? Yep. Why not?
Because it's an animal byproduct.
Ah, okay.
And maybe the bees are harmed in the process.
Oh, I see.
But I get my honey from these hippies out in Oregon, which are really great. Anita and Arthur that were on the Amazing Race with me, so they send me their honey. When I cook the steel-cut oatmeal, I use water, and then almond milk or rice milk is really good to give it a little bit of a vanilla flavor.
Almond milk or rice milk. Okay, great. What about soy milk? Is that?
Yeah, I have it if it's out there.
What about lunch?
Lunch. We'll go through on my meal. I usually have a snack in between, breakfast. I love fruit, all kinds of fruit. It's like nature's candy. It comes in a nice wrapper. Here's my pitch to everybody: eat more fruits and vegetables. Lunch, I'll usually have. It depends if I'm going to go for a run right after it. I'll usually have, almond butter with jelly. So I eat lots of nuts, lots of really rich in protein, really fatty stuff. And I'm not a fat guy, so my body uses it. So nuts. That's usually a little bit lighter on the side because I'm usually running right after that.
Okay.
And for dinner, since I feel that's a nice segue.
You got it right.
I really like grains like quinoa, couscous, and I'll just have a whole bunch of vegetables. Kale is one of my favorites. Carrots, whatever's in season. Sometimes I go to the green market and get different things.
Okay. Now what about dessert?
Dessert. Oh yeah, I love dessert. Chocolate. Dark chocolate is completely vegan, most of it. I just check.
Interesting.
Nowadays there's, coconut-based coconut ice cream, rice dream. There's, Soy Delicious. There's all these wonderful brands that are making. If I want to, I do have a sweet tooth.
Okay.
And I cook a lot. I make some incredible vegan macaroons. So next time I see you,
vegan macaroons. You're on.
Vegan chocolate macaroons are incredible. It's rice milk, quick cooking oats, coconut. Chocolate powder, and what else do I put in there? Some sugar and some vegan margarine.
Okay, cool. And you discovered your body adapts to it, and you can do all the running, because running, it's all about carbs, and the more you run, the more carbs you need. But you get it through fruits and natural foods. I
noticed, I had oatmeal. Then I have in my macaroons, I have quick cooking oats. I always have pretzels in my bag, so I'm always got those carbs there mixed in with, I always just eat I try to eat 3 good meals and 2 really good snacks a day.
Excellent. Well, it's interesting. Runners are always into food one way or another, and they're more aware of it. But you're really aware of it because you made such for a lot of people, a drastic move to go vegetarian. But I'm glad it works out, and I think it may inspire some people to try for 6 months. That was your philosophy.
That was it, and my body's responded extremely well. Last year, when I had been vegan, it was my fastest half marathon I ever ran in Staten Island, and my 3rd fastest marathon in New York City. So excellent. And I expect this one to be my fastest ever.
Fastest, okay. Well, people probably recognize you also for another race besides the marathons and a half, and that's the Amazing Race that you and Sarah were on, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago. I have to admit, I've never seen The Amazing Race before or since. I only watched it when you guys were on it, and you guys were awesome.
Thank you.
And the camera really loved you. You really looked great. I said, wow, I know that guy. But what was it like, especially the scene where you had to eat something you didn't really want to eat? Well, tell us about that day.
Well, thank you for watching the show and not watching it since then. Nobody should watch it until I'm back on it. No, I would love to have the opportunity to be back on it. It really was amazing, not to use it, but it was an amazing race. I got to circle the world.
Wow.
On somebody else's dime. I took 30 flights in 23 days. It was.
Did you get to keep the frequent miles?
You can try to work. It's so far off of your mind. All you want to do is get on that flight and try to sleep. Sarah was an incredible race partner. She has a lot of energy, great athlete level. We complement each other. The difficult thing is we both went for that meat challenge. It was in Kazakhstan, and we didn't know what it was. It said go to a local hookah bar and partake in their custom. And we're like, oh man, we're gonna have to smoke a hookah pipe. We had no idea what it was. And when we showed up there, it was sheep's ass. I was like, no. And it was so gnarly. This other team was going for it, and that team actually beat us in the fast forward, and they ended up winning the $1 million. So, Sarah and I sat down. We did our best.
I know it was really heart-wrenching watching you eat.
She's like, eat the potatoes, and I cut it and I put it in my mouth. I was like, oh my God, this is a chunk of fat. So, I'm throwing up on national TV, which is great. And we really, even after we couldn't finish it, we hustled and we tried to catch the other team. And I heard we were really close. But what was it like? The host said, you couldn't eat the sheep's ass for $1 million. I was like, no. At that point, I'd been a vegetarian for, 15 years, and I'm a tremendous competitor. I tried to do everything, but I couldn't even swallow the stuff whole.
I know. It was amazing. Really, it was heart-wrenching to watch, and also very interesting. Now, the host, I learned later, he's an athlete in his own right. In fact, he did something that I think you supported him in.
Yes, he rode across America on his bike. We've become pretty good friends. He respects my athleticism, and I respect him tremendously. He actually just tweeted about something I did, but he rode across America for his birthday, and his dad joined him, and he got to pick bits because his dad was there, and he actually put me in his movie, which I thought was really cool. When in New Zealand, because that's where he's from, Sarah and I went to the mat, and his dad was there, so he put that clip in. So I'm in his movie, The Ride, which is a really fun, funny, fantastic movie that you should check out.
Great. Is it on DVD or is it, where is it?
I know you can get it on iTunes.
How does one get into The Amazing Race? Any tips?
Well, how does one do anything in life? They envision it and they go for it. That's all it was. We talked about doing it, and I looked on the website and they said they were taking applications. I'm like, Sarah, let's apply. And she's like, sure. So sure enough, brought a videotape. We filmed all over the city, edited it down, shipped it away, and they called us up. It's just, don't live your life saying, what if I did it? Live your life saying, I did it, I tried. It's far greater than to have tried and failed than to have never tried at all. So don't live with what ifs. That's pretty much.
That's exciting. But then, of course, you got the news, and now you got to, wait a minute, this is going to take a while. How did you work it out with work?
Well, the way it actually happened is they call you, and then the process, we sent away the application November. December comes around, they give us a call. Then they get more questions. They're like, send us another tape. But this time they gave us a little bit more guidance. Terrence, what do you do? Sarah, what do you do? How does this affect your relationship? We sent that in. Then they're like, we like you guys. We're going to fly you to LA in February for a week, and you're going to interview with all of the, with the host and the producer and the creator.
Wow.
And then after that, March comes around. They're like, all right, you've been chosen. You're going to leave in April. And I was like, oh no, my little brother's getting married in April. And literally it was like 3 days after. I was almost concerned I was going to miss his wedding. I was working at the time, coaching the Nike group, and I knew I'd be able to take time off from that and just working with people, and I was doing real estate. So I was always, and I have been ever since I left Wall Street, self-employed and doing what makes me happy.
So Sarah was the one that had to work a little harder to get away.
Yes, but she was at Bear Stearns, and at the time, that's when Bear Stearns was completely like her timing couldn't have been better.
Really? There's no more Bear Stearns?
No, there's no more Bear Stearns. And,
oh, wow, that is exciting. So just put in the application and go for it.
That's when people come up to me, they're like, oh, I've always wanted to be on that show. How do I get on it? I'm like, did you apply? They're like, no. I was like, well, then that's the first step.
Excellent. I saw on your Facebook, you just celebrated a 10-year anniversary with Amazing Race.
It's been 10 years of the show, and CBS and Snapple threw a big ass party. Can I say ass? Okay,
yes,
good.
You can.
Good, I'm glad, because I just did. It was such an awesome party down in Miami, right on the beach, South Beach. We stayed at the Lowe's Hotel, and it was phenomenal. Seriously, so it was all of us. You were only allowed to go to the party if you were on the show. It was only the contestants on the show, and we danced and we had a blast.
Well, with 10 years, they must have had hundreds.
Yeah, there's a couple hundred, and Phil and I actually went for a run one of the mornings, and he's like, one of these days, I'm going to run a marathon. I said, I'll pace you. He's like, my goal is to break 4 hours. I was like, with me pacing you, you can do it, Phil.
Does Phil live in New York area?
No, he lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
And then after we ran for 30 minutes, he's like, let's go on the bike for a little bit. I was like,
oh, well, he's a bike guy.
Exactly. So I felt like
set you up, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, but that's all right. He was great. He was really nice with me on the bike.
Oh, but interesting. You think you could go back on the show? Is that a possibility? Do they invite people back again?
They just had season 18 was called like Unfinished Business, and it was kind of like an all-star. So there always is that possibility. And what do you say? You and I go on it? Come on.
I don't think so. I have my goals, but the Amazing Race was too amazing for me.
Okay, but yeah, I would go on it in a heartbeat now.
Okay. Well, so hopefully it'll be on for another 10. It sounds like it could go on forever.
Yeah, they've signed a couple more years.
It's like a natural thing. That's a terrific show. I mean, I haven't seen it since you guys because, I just can't. I want to see Terence and Sarah.
Too kind.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. You're not the only one that feels that way.
Really? Excellent. But recently you did another amazing race of a different kind. Yes. Something I've never heard of. Desert Marathon. Please tell us about that.
Chris Solars, Chris Solars.
I don't know the name, no.
Okay, he's a good friend of mine. We've ran together for many, many years. In 2007, we ran Boston together for fun. The year of the Nor'easter, we took 500 pictures. I had carpal tunnel from holding the camera for 26.2 miles. And we just had fun, and I had never done that. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. He's so much fun. And last year, he found out that the record for the fastest 5-person tethered marathon was 3 hours and 38 minutes. And I'm like, Chris, we could totally beat this. He's like, yes, but we just need to get more people. So it was Chris Solars, Brad Weiss, myself, and then we needed 2 other people. And we weren't sure, and it all came together within 5 days. So on June 4th of 2011, we went out to God's Country, Pennsylvania. It's called Conquer the Hill Marathon.
How did you pick that one? That was a tough one.
We were all available that weekend, and the very important thing about the races that you want to try to get in the Guinness Book of World Record, the race director has to okay it. So, certain races, they don't want 5 people tied together running the course, and the race director said it was okay. We were all available. It was close enough to New York. Francis Leroy and Stephen England. Were the other two, and they said yes. And we were like, let's do it now. Because this coming up weekend, I knew my mom was in town. It was Father's Day. Brad couldn't do it. Then we're going to get into Chris doing something else. Then it's July 4th, and then it's the summer, and it's too hot.
And the director said yes.
Yeah.
But that marathon is a very difficult one. What was the name of it again?
It's called God's Country Marathon. It was in Pennsylvania, Pottersville, Pennsylvania. The 37th running of it.
I never heard of it. But how many people were in that? It's probably relatively small.
It was 133 people.
Perfect.
We were 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th.
That was your finish?
That was our finish place, yes.
So who finished first out of the 5?
They just put us in bib order. We all ran across together, holding hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now, how did you practice for that?
Not the way we should have, in my opinion. On Tuesday night, we met in Central Park. We tied the rope around our waist, and we went and did the lower 5-mile loop. And at the end of the 5-mile loop, everybody had to go. I had to go myself. I said, okay, guys, we'll see each other out there on Saturday morning. We all stayed in the cabins Friday night, woke up Saturday morning.
Wait. That's all you did, one together?
One practice run, yes.
Did you discuss what happens if somebody needs to take a bathroom break?
That was discussed. And
what was your strategy for that?
We were hoping nobody would have to go to the porta potty, but it was God's country, so when we had to pee, we all stopped because we were tied together, and you can't untie because then the record doesn't count. Okay. So we stayed attached the whole time. We all stopped on the side of the road and we peed. I will forward you some email pictures. It's on my Facebook page. It's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, so you had the camera with you?
Somebody else was documenting the footage, yeah.
Oh, I guess because it's for Guinness, what kind of documentation do you need for that?
They just wanted pictures, of us running together and signatures.
Okay.
That you witnessed it. For example, if you were at the start, we'd say, hey, Will, would you mind signing our log, saying that you saw us and, your email.
Plus the picture.
Exactly.
Oh, excellent. Plus a director signed off.
Plus a director signed off.
And it's a legitimate 26.2.
Yep. Exactly. And we had to take 2 bathroom breaks, which I've never done really ever in a marathon. But
you take more or you take less?
I take none.
Really?
I try to. But you listen to the consensus.
Of course.
But when we stopped, I had to go, so I went. So.
Oh, excellent. Now.
But one thing about that. So we did the 5-mile practice run, right?
Right.
So then, what ends up happening is once we run 5 miles on the course, I'm like, hey guys, this is the furthest we've ever ran together, tied together. We get through mile 10, I'm like, guys, this is twice as far as we've ever ran together, and by 15 and 20,
so you play mind games.
At the end, they're like, we know, this is 5 times that we've ever ran together. They're like, we know what you're going to say, Terence.
It's like bottles of beer on the wall, Terry, we know.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what makes you so much fun. You come up with, no matter how mundane, it still works.
Yeah. So
I guess you were best buddies, BFFs after that.
Yeah, we definitely were. We have a nice bond that, and that we did it. It seriously felt effortless. It was the best I've ever felt after a marathon. Like, it's been 6 days, and I can't wait to meet all the guys out, tomorrow for a run, and we're all just feeling really enthusiastic and pumped about the record. The friendship's even been solidified further.
Wow. I saw the pictures of you guys that was amazing. But it would occur to me, did the height differential make a difference? Because Brad is short and Francis is so tall.
What we did is the way we staggered it. Brad's such a strong runner. He just ran Boston in 2:38. Steven's run low 250s. He just did in Boston. I came off of Boston. Francis is the only one that didn't do Boston, actually. And Chris and I ran together through mile 21, and Chris ran a 2:58. The way we kind of had it set up was Brad was going to be in front because he's really such a strong runner. He's going to keep everybody respectfully, calm and relaxed for the first 18.
Hey, where were you?
I was in 3rd position, just because I have a lot of energy, and you know me, I talk the whole time.
And you decided all this after doing just one sample run of 5 miles, how to...
Yeah, we kind of toyed with things. We toyed with the W, but we just felt it was more efficient to go Brad, Steven, Terence, Francis, Chris. So we kind of almost were like a straight line if we needed to be. But we kind of had like it really just worked fluidly.
Well. So there was anything that said oops or anything. It was just.
It was so fluid. It was.
And what kind of crowd support did you have? Were people kind of looking at you odd with 5? It looked like you were like runaway convicts.
Exactly. Well, they came up with a slogan on the back of our shirts. Brad's shirt said "Not tired," because he's never tired really. Steve England is from France, so he was not legal. And I'm the only single one in the group, so I was not attached, which was KNOT. All of them were KNOT.
Okay.
Francis was not again. There's a couple different reasons for that. I'll let Francis tell you the reason why he's not again. And Chris was not last because he was last. And then one of the guys that passed us, he goes, I'm not with them. Because he actually happened to have a yellow shirt, and we were all wearing yellow shirts.
Really?
So it was actually pretty funny. About, I said, 133 people. There was over 200 support staff. So there was, every water station was incredible. Like, it was the smallest, best organized marathon. It was.
It sounds like you'd be anxious to do it again.
Yeah, I mean,
break the record again.
It was great. It really was. There was people in cars with, like
honking the horn,
honking and blowing duck calls, and we made friends with so many people. There were so many people on the course. They're like, "You guys are looking great. Keep it up." And
I think maybe after this show, more people will know about it and do this.
Yeah.
But we're almost out of time. But I wanted to cover.
No.
Yes, we
okay,
almost.
Fine. You have to bring me back.
Yes.
All
yes.
Right.
I wanted to cover, you were talking earlier about some products that really helped you because sometimes you get soreness and tightness. Tell us about that.
Actually, last year I ran my fastest half marathon in Staten Island and my calf was bothering me. And before Staten Island, which was in October, it actually happened to be 10-10-10, I went to Ireland with my mom. And in September, I picked up a product, this product actually.
In Ireland?
I picked it up, it was at Boots Pharmaceutical, and I was like, wait, this doesn't have any smell, and it's hypoallergenic, and it's just a magnet, and it's a little patch. At first, I was like, well, what's this all about? And I put them on my calf after I went and had acupuncture, and my acupuncturist, Caesar, this is actually, they really know where the meridians are, and he said, give it a try. So I put them on, I had no pain. I ran a 122. I was like, there's something to this.
Which half was that?
Staten Island.
Okay.
And then I ran New York City with a couple of the patches on also. I have one right now on my arm. That's just what it looks like. And again, I felt great. And wherever there was pain, it really seemed to work with me.
And at this recent New York, you broke 3. I think at 250?
I ran 259.18, and it was my third fastest New York. So after that, I called up the company. I was like, how do I get more of them? And they're like, well, you can buy them from us. And I'm like, why aren't they in the States? And I actually was speaking to the owner, and he's like, what's your idea? I was like, I think they should be in running stores. And he said, well, tell me more about you. I said, look, I don't do business with people I don't know. How about I fly to France and I meet you? And he lives in Nice. I met him.
Wow.
We hit it off, and now I have the distribution rights for North America. I believe in it so much, I put my money where my mouth is, and to bring them to here.
So this is not only an ongoing endeavor, but this is part of your future.
Yes, it is definitely part of my future.
Wow. Well, on that note, I wish you all the great success on your future. It's a very, very good one. Thank you so much for coming in, Terence.
My pleasure, Will. And if you ever need any, let me know. And I look forward to always seeing you on the road. And your enthusiasm for the sport and you doing the show is just incredible. So I'm honored to be a guest here and that you've taken the time and invited me. So
I'm blessed in many ways. Thank you, Terence.
You're welcome.